He leads one of the best known day schools in India, a school that is known for its amazing confluence of an international curriculum, local context, and sustainable design. A school which is decades old and yet at the frontiers in not just digital learning for its own school community, but in supporting other schools as well, modeling it themselves while leading and handholding other institutions. In the historical town of Jodhpur that is steeped in heritage and culture, there is a quiet revolution going on in school education. And at the helm of it is Vaibhav Doshi, an engineer by education and an educator by passion. Vaibhav, along with his sister Archita Tatia, are the torch bearers who are showing by doing and sharing their vision and learning with the community of schools and school leadership teams. True to the name of the school, they are the alma mater. Hi, I'm Nivedita, and in conversation with me today is Vaibhav Doshi. Thanks, Vaibhav, for taking time out to share your thoughts with me and my viewers. 2020.
Thank you, Nivedita ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a busy time of the school, end of the year with all kinds of informations and confirmations that are going back and forth. A difficult time in the year as well overall. And 2020 has itself seen a seismic shift in education. It is digitize or perish. And you and Alma Mater has led this shift from the front, not only for your own team, but many others have learned from you, with you, including me. And I will begin by asking you, how should a school leader pick technology for their school community? What criteria can be applied to make the most appropriate choices? Since the first year we just went helter skelter and picked whatever, whichever one we could access, we could learn, we could buy, we could afford. But I'm sure there is a criteria that you have sifted out, and if you could share with us.
Sure, sure. So before I start with the criteria part, I think there is one important part that we all need to understand, that whenever we talk about technologies in school, it just doesn't mean the digital technology, but it means any kind of material that is helping the child for teaching and learning. I can say that a potter's wheel is a technological tool. I can say carpentry workshop is a technological tool, right? The beauty is that children always get exposure of all of these things in schools which strongly believe in skill development, right? And then the second strain is what we call as the digital technology, which we all witnessed very strongly in the past year. And I think, as my sister and the founder of the school says, it is an opportunity in crisis. So for me, it has been a great learning journey, and I would like to start with an amazing story where in March we came to know that we are going to have a lockdown, the schools have to go online, and from that moment for 1 month, it was a peace time for everybody, and we were just ensuring what does research say for technology, how to make it happen, and that's where we came down with basically these 5 criteria that I'm going to share with you. Whenever we are looking at technology, the first and the foremost thing is what kind of learning management system the leader believes in. There are many learning management systems in the market these days. If you say Google Classroom, you can talk about Seesaw, you talk about EdTech, you talk about Blackboard. But it depends in what context are you able to fit in, right? The second important part is where generally in classroom we have tools for delivery. Okay. Now these tools for delivery for the teacher is a kind of material. It can be a blackboard, whiteboard, it can be an experiment setup, lab, and everything. But then the same thing applies in case of a digital education also, where we are saying the tools for delivery are available there. And this is one of the tools of delivery that we both are conversing in, where I am able to share my thoughts with you and you're able to share thoughts with me through this beautiful platform of Zoom, right? Then comes the tools for collaboration. Now, if we look, eventually when I complete, you will see that whatever I do in school, I'm directly linking the same criteria I'm having into my system here in the digital system, tools for collaboration. Whenever we have in schools, physical schools, we have got so many collaborative ideas, mind maps, charts, which children try to collaborate to understand and learn much more better. Okay. Similarly, we have got tools for collaboration in the digital world also. So the next part that comes is that generally after collaboration, the teacher always focuses on checking and understanding. Okay, so there have to be tools for understanding also. And eventually, this all comes down to upskilling the child. So I can take small examples for tools for delivery. I've taken Zoom. I've shared tools for collaboration. Padlet is a very classic tool for collaboration, right? Jamboard is a very classic tool for collaboration. A Google Slide document is a very good tool for collaboration. So the beauty is that whenever we talk about these criteria are almost similar, but it's only the tool that changes. So I keep on, Nivita ma'am, I keep on sharing this example that if you give a chef any kitchen in this world, he will perform his best, right? That's the beauty that comes into education when digital tools come into account. Because I'm skilled,
Right.
and that's where the shift comes in.
Mm, mm.
So according to me, when I was researching around these tools, these are the 5 important major things for me: the learning management system, tools for delivery, tools for collaboration, tools for checking understanding, and finally what we call as upskilling. So we started this journey with our teachers,
Mm.
where we know that which kind of learning management system you are comfortable in. And we finally found out that Google is something that we are very comfortable, and it is a very easy system. It is highly user friendly. Then we came down to tools for delivery. That what kind of tools for delivery do we need to do for teacher training?
Mm.
Right. Then it did a lot of collaborative activities within the teachers.
Mm.
Whenever we go into physical school, the teacher is trained with all these things around her.
Right.
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 Exactly the same model we did online.
Mm.
So we did a lot of collaboration online as teachers. We also checked our understanding
Right.
by experts that are we good at this or not, or where do we need to go ahead. Okay. And then when the entire teaching team was good, they upskill to the next level of program
Right.
or digital technology. Yes.
So you have been able to take your team of teachers, and some of them have been with you for many years, and some of them are possibly as old as I am, and the teachers and administrators, and some of them are very young as you and have backgrounds which are more you know tech friendly overall. So how have you been able to take your team of teachers and administrators along the path of digitization, because that's one of the barriers which was being faced before the pandemic, even during the pandemic, during the process of digitization. The worry is that are we leaving some good teachers behind because we are unable to take them along with us on the digital path?
I would like to start with one very important thing is what we call as relationship building at Alma Mater School. At Alma Mater School, we clearly focus that the social emotional well-being of a teacher is of the primitive importance. Rest all will fall in place. If the teacher is feeling safe, if the teacher is feeling empowered, if the teacher is feeling respected, and eventually the teacher is happy, right? Then I personally feel everything that we do in the professional development, it goes in the teachers and they ingrain it. It is woven very beautifully. So yes, for sure, this time was very difficult where we have got teachers equivalent to your age and we have got very young teachers. We had a very beautiful plan here that any teacher who is very young, she has seen more technology compared to the ones who are old.
Right.
So, conventionally speaking, in a school, you have a computer science teacher or an ICT teacher,
Mm.
and he trains everybody. Alma Mater thought, and we opted that who would want to train? Tell
Mm.
us.
Mm.
Who feels that you're good in YouTube? Who feels that you're good in Google Classroom? Who feels? And we shortlisted.
Mm.
And I was training only those 5 people.
Okay.
And those 5 were ensuring that the team
Mm.
is going, it's in its own pace.
Right.
For sure, initial levels were as difficult as I don't know how to log in and I don't remember my password for Gmail. But today, if you ask, my teachers are designing games online. If you look at the planning that they are doing, okay, there was no formatting initially, but if you look at the formatting, they are challenging me that your format is wrong, my format is better. But then we need to understand one thing here that only 2 things can come together. Okay, one is the belief system that I had in my these 5 or 7 people, who were not computer science teachers. Only two were there,
Okay.
who were computer science and ICT sirs. Okay, who used to take care of all things of campus. But the remaining three or four were like, young. They had this energy that I want to make it happen. I will problem solve,
Mm,
and that's where I think I believed in them.
mm,
They believed in me, and in a span of 2 months, we were able to train our teachers
mm,
how to get technology on board in their teaching and learning.
mm,
I mean, you won't believe, ma'am, there were times where, in these times, there was no time period. That my
mm,
school timing is 8 to 2.
mm,
Teachers used to call it night at 10, night at 9, midnight 12. I'm not able to understand this. Can you help me? And these 5 to 6 key people
mm,
were awake for them.
mm,
So, that still gives me those goosebumps. You
mm.
know, hey, look what relationships can do to you.
Right.
So I think the entire core structure of a system,
Mm,
okay, the strength of a system comes from relations.
right.
And if
Wonderful.
they are strong, things can fall in place.
Wonderful. You have been an advocate of STEM on one side and digitizing. For some time, you have been talking about digitizing, and despite being a very experiential learning environment, and everything is like, I think half the time your class children are out of the classroom, and your classroom is like is very outside in. Even your classroom structure is very much like that. So, given the current situation, how can we have the best of both virtual and physical learning? Can we bring the physical learning to homes? Can we do, have we used the materials or parents or environment, or how have you transferred the experiential learning bit of Alma Mater, which is very key in your pedagogy, in the digital learning platform?
I think you have pinpointed a very important question. Uh, a school with experiential learning, and instantly I'm not able to do things hands-on. I'm saying I do it virtually, and I constantly used to doubt myself. How will the understanding fall in place? Because if I don't use my senses, I can't understand physics, chemistry, biology. Okay, if I don't do measurement around my school, or if I don't get challenges by using material around me, I can understand maths. Okay, and if I don't interact with people beyond my school, I cannot speak languages.
Right.
How was it possible? Now that is something that we learned over this whole year, right? The first bold step that we took was that we started sending material kits to parents.
Okay.
Now, these material kits were not what you call as worksheets. These material kits used to have very local, uh, what we call as jugaad-based
Uh,
uh, uh, materials through which children could design and develop machines at home.
tell us something. Give us some examples.
So let's say we're talking about an example of levers,
Hmm.
right? And I'm personally a fan of this person called as Arvind Gupta, right? And he had given a TED talk called as Toys from Trash.
Hmm.
Alma Mater has been using this concept of Toys from Trash since the last 7 years now. So one advantage that we had, that in school we already had the motive for every child for Toys for Trash. They were doing it. Now we only had to pack it and send it. And the moment this thing happened, children started learning physics in a very different way,
Hmm.
right? But biology had limitations. Now you can ask, biology, mein toh everything is very,
Yeah.
expensive. How do we make it happen?
Hmm.
That's where simulations online came into help for us.
Okay.
Now I will tell you a very classic thing that Alma Mater learned this year, in this whole year of COVID while teaching and learning. That generally what happens, we do an experiment with the child once.
Hmm.
And since we are so caught up with doing so many more experiments, I don't repeat that experiment.
Okay.
What if the child wants to do that experiment again? Can he do it or not?
Right.
Until last year, it was not possible.
Hmm.
As not possible for us because we never explored this internet world.
Right.
Okay.
Uh,
But in COVID, we came to know that simulations are there, where the experiments are almost similar, where they can put and play with so many variables and they can understand deeper.
hmm.
So the experiments were happening online through simulation, okay, and the understanding was falling in place. So I personally feel that for everything in the past 1 year, we thought that nothing is there, but we got to know that there are so many companies around the world who are doing virtual learning in the last 10 to 15 years.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And imagine that only a few of people knew it.
Yes.
And now look at the transition that Alma Mater is going through. We are saying that even if physical school start, okay, we are saying that 2 plus 2, 4 Khan Academy sikha dega. Right?
Correct.
But plus 2, 4 का real life application Alma Mater classroom में सिखाएगा. So we are going to have more of experiments, case studies. We are going to explore more. We are going to address more open-ended questions, which you are never able to. We are going to take care of more project-based learning. We are going for more visits and trips. Okay, we are going to focus more on relationship building.
Right.
And we are going to implement the TEDx curriculum also, which strongly focuses on something what you call as can children become critical thinkers.
Right.
Now imagine that where would a child from this level where we were teaching everything in school, he's learning in school, which is more application and experiential based learning.
Right.
Okay. And at home, he's only focusing on rigor, computation, process, write-ups, practice. Okay. Which is backed up with what? With authentic leaders in digital technology like Khan Academy, Bamboozle, right? With the Edpuzzle, right? And simulations.
Right.
So the overall understanding of the child is going to go very, very strong.
So yeah. So I can see that very clearly distinct that there was digitization before the pre-pandemic era, but it had not come into education. During the pandemic, one of the things that happened was that education quickly embraced the E in the education.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a very quick embracing, and the teachers, with their commitment to ensure that the learning goes on, um, brought whatever they could into their practice and learned as fast as they could, and shared the amount of collaboration not only happened in the scientists for finding out the vaccine, but it also happened amongst the educators to find the best tools, the easiest tools, the cheapest tools, the most adaptive tools. So what in the across these three eras, pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and hopefully soon enough post-pandemic, how do you see the shift happening? Because you can actually see in the future, in the next few years, of how what all you have assimilated, how will it translate? What will be the shape of education going forward according to you? What will we leave behind and what will we take forward?
I think I will start with a very critical thing that even though Alma Mater had been using all these beautiful technologies and tools, and we ensured that the classroom size was small, right? Only 10 or 12 children in the classroom, teachers paying attention. We were calling children on phone that can I help you in this concept if you have to understand. We were taking extra classes online. Okay, we were sending DI based worksheets to children, right? So they can do. Though learning gap is something that has come. Okay, so I think the first thing for Alma Mater here is that we would want to cover up the learning gaps, right? But the most conventional way of thinking is that whatever I didn't do last year, I will do this year. In this curriculum, I'll forward. That is not how we have to think.
Okay.
We have to think whatever I was not able to cover, I have to cover in the next 3 years.
Okay.
So you have to pick up pockets of what to put in and what to remove from the coming year, which can be adjusted in the next year.
Right.
That is one part, right? This is quite possible till a child is in grade 8, right? But when you talk about grades 9 to 12, right, this pocket might vary the percentage or eventually the board exams marks that children score. Okay,
right.
And in that case, for sure, an extra push will have to be given to these children.
Yeah,
but again,
is very short. The 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th runway is very short to catch up. Yeah.
Very short to catch up, right? But then it can be worked out.
Okay.
And very sure it can be worked out if children are learning more hands-on and experiential.
Mhm.
Because on an average, if you see 9th and 10th curriculum,
Mhm.
it's only 40 to 45%, which is something new that children have never learned.
Right.
But the remaining 55 is a constant rigor and recap, and a
Right.
complexity is a little bit higher.
Right.
Now, if as teachers we can understand that, we focus more on this covering these topics right now in online, because we know that the same frame of mind doesn't come into action.
Right.
Then when they come to physical school, we can do more with them around this complex.
Right.
So this bifurcation is very, very essential. And the same logic happens in 11th and 12th also. Additionally, we are saying that what was the shift that we saw in pre, during, and post pandemic,
Right.
right? Pre-pandemic alma mater was all about pure experiences, right? And I will not talk about the during part, because that's where we have adapted. Okay. And in my experience of 8 to 9 years of education field, okay, I have never ever seen anyone adapt so fast.
Right.
I mean, the way teachers have adapted, the way children have adapted to the system, it it is what you call as it is exponential.
Mm.
And this has proven that wherever I am,
Mm.
whenever I am, however I am,
Mm.
if I want to make learning happen,
Mm.
I can make it.
Right.
Okay. So I simply call beautiful digitalization as WWW, which is whatever, whenever, and wherever. Around these three things, it completely evolves. Okay. It is only the grit that you need that I want to make it happen. Additionally, post, as I already told you, that we are going into more skill-based development rather than academic development.
Right.
Because what I recently witnessed is that there are 5 traits that any examination officer in college is asked for. The first one is the academic record, okay, which is not given that much of emphasis, right? The second is whether the child is collaborative, whether the child is persistent, and whether the child is able to, is able to motivate himself. Because if we talk about these colleges these days, okay, professors are not checking question and answers. They're saying you have to become a self-dependent learner, right? I will give you explanation journey and make it happen. You give me dissertation, you give me a project report at the end, I will verify that. This is where children have to go.
Right.
Right. The proficiency in a language, in the way I'm able to communicate, is very, very essential.
Right.
Right. Talking about, do I have any portfolio for any extracurricular activities? We very well know that these days there are paradigm shifts happening where, let's say, them, I don't have a sports, I'm not a sports person, but I'm a very good academician. You are a very good academician, you're very good in sports. Any company will take you first. But the reason behind that is because a sports person has next level of energy in him, right? The same happens in colleges.
Right.
So these are some things which are very, very, and eventually they are checking for understanding.
Right.
So I just had a talk, of the IIT child who has just passed out, he got the admission and everything. He said that they didn't ask me what is the formula for Pythagoras theorem, how to prove it in real life. They said, this is a machine. Can you tell me where Pythagoras theorem is being applied?
Okay.
If you tell me that, then you can come in. Otherwise, we are sorry. So they are checking for understanding.
Right.
So alma mater from this round was focusing purely around these 5 things which we have to grow the children on. For sure, academic results will be good.
Fantastic.
But the remaining 4 have to be given the upper hand.
Yeah. Something which most of us as Asian schools, Asian parents, most of us have been keeping that, okay, whatever else is okay, but keep the academics first. So now there is no first, second, or third. It is all of it is a complete package. So great learning, great thoughts from an educator. as young and as practical and as quick on your feet, I must say. I think uh, a good time for us to now figure out what would be your top tips for the parents of this time. The parents are so nervous. They're nervous about themselves, their jobs, their future. They're not nervous about their child's future, their child's education. They're nervous that they're, leaving behind this generation. Exams will happen, not happen. Exam was a big crutch for the parents. School result is a big crutch for the parent, something that parent depends on. What would you say to the parents to keep in mind amidst all of this cacophony of nervousness that is happening?
I think the way teachers and children have adapted over this year, adaptation of parents with children and with the system has been the most difficult.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, we were in the system where a child was going for almost 6 to 8 hours to a school, okay, and parent was into that. Hush, he's learning something there. He's doing something there. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. Right. Recently, this drastic change has led parents into a question mark that what to do now. Right. I come back to one moment that your children started schooling at the age of 2.5 or 3 years. Okay. Where that age span between 0 to 1 year or 1 to 2 year, when a child started walking for the first time, when he was trying, okay, did he run? He couldn't, right? All our children are in this phase right now. They are missing schools. They are not able to run. They're not able to move out. They have restrictions. They are being scolded because we are not giving them solutions of what to watch on screen. We're telling them, pass your time. There is no agenda, there is no timetable, there is no exposure or exploration. Right? And this is the most beautiful time that we can talk about so many life skills that children can be taught. I can tell you simple as that. Washing a commode is a skill, right? Washing utensils with minimalistic water is a skill that they can attain, right? Cleaning my house, cleaning my wardrobe. All these are life skills which are eventually going to help the child to sustain his life. I remember that my parents have told me to enter a pothole and clean everything from there and come out. And that is because my maternal grandfather told my mother that after 10th he has to earn on his own, whether he does the housework or he goes out. And since then until now, I've learned two things: that whichever condition I am in, okay, I know how to find out the way out of it. Tomorrow a maid doesn't come, I know how to clean my house. Okay, so it is so important that your entire house is a hub of science. Your kitchen is a hub of science. Your house is a hub of organization. You have to ensure children are involved in these activities, even though you have got house help. That's one part. Okay, I would say stop Netflix, get Curiosity Stream as an application. I'm telling you, your children will be in front of screen. I agree. Okay, but they will be adding more value to what they're listening and what they are looking at. Right? They have to see how stuffs work.
Yeah.
I mean, just go on and how stuffs work. How does the fan work? How do they manufacture these bottles? Okay, you're sitting on a dining table. Weber, do you know how our plates made? Let me show you. Look at the amount of curiosity that is a child will have. Oh, plate, it's such a simple thing. But how is it made? I have no idea. So children have to stop Tarak Mehta. They have to go into how stuff work. Right. Yes, I appreciate they should watch IPL. But IPL is all about analysis, all about maths. Why can't you pick a maths from there? Okay. If your children love Olympics has got a complete curriculum.
Yes.
Of how do I understand Olympics and what other things can I do using Olympics?
That's right. That's right.
Imagine what are the opportunities. I'm telling you, and it is very, very important that one part for sure which children are missing very deeply is interaction. And when we talk about this interaction, now you know that friends are secure, everybody is secure in the house. Okay. In the school, they used to meet non-stop. Okay. Why don't we send children to a friend's house? Why don't they go out for trekking? Why don't they go for a park walk? They can come together. COVID is not saying that it will reach there. COVID is saying that you don't go into an area which has got very high density. But they can go for trekking. I have parents who requested school here that can we take all our children to zoo? And school said, yes, why not? If you all agree, we are in for it. So there are so many beautiful ideas that can happen. But remember, the child that is with you here right now, he wants to walk. He needs to learn how to walk. This pathway. And this is the most critical parts of their lifetime, I'm telling you. I mean, you are lucky enough कि आपका बच्चा 5th 6th में 2 साल आपके साथ इस तरह से रह रहा है और आप उसको और सिखा सकते हो जो आपको कभी मौका ही नहीं मिलता.
Correct. बिल्कुल.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, we have to look at as an opportunity, because this is what we are. We don't have to go around it. Let's go through it and learn with it, figure out, because something which is not in our control, we have to figure out what we can do to make the best out of it, whether it is students, whether it's parents, or whether it's school leaders. And I would say that if they can collaborate more and more with each other and with schools like yours, I think we can crunch our learning time. We can share the challenges that each one of us are facing, and maybe somebody has sorted out that challenge already, and we could learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how Element grown actually. If you say that problems are going to be and I'm going to solve it, it doesn't work. You have to meet people, you have to interact with people, you have to talk to school leaders, you have to talk to teachers. What do I do? I'm telling you, there is no school in the world who will not give you a solution.
Right.
You just have to implement it. And what is the matter? It's a matter of only 6 months now.
Yes.
जब हमने 1 साल निकाले तो 6 महीने के लिए.
Yes, absolutely. So tathastu, amen, and inshallah to that. Let's go through this. Let's go through this together. Let us look at it as what opportunities does it offer, than what opportunities it has taken away from us, because that's something we have no control on. And build relationships, because that will pull us through.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Vaibhav.